Good evening, everybody, and welcome to SKR on a Sunday afternoon. We're here for Season 6, Round 10, and we're at the famous Monza circuit. Welcome to Death Queen, welcome to Sean in the comment section. If anybody can let me know, is the lobby broken on my side? Because I don't see anything. So if anybody in the comments section can let me know, is the race happening? Or is everybody looking at the same screen as me? Please let me know so that I can try and fix this. Otherwise, we're going to be looking at a empty pit lane for the duration of the stream. Please, anyone in the comment section, just let me know if the drivers are having the same problem or if they can see right now, because I obviously cannot. Okay, I've got no communication from the drivers, so I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have a look at the Discord chat, see if anybody is complaining from the same problem. If not, we're gonna have to leave this race and try and rejoin. I thought we had a problem on our hands, sorry about that. Feeling a little bit anxious from all the issues we've had during the week. Obviously this is a sprint night. As a result, as per the SKR rules, the grid for the sprint race is set by the Drivers' Championship order in reverse. So that's what gives you this lineup that you see in front of you. Ultra Gamer leads the way from Smurf in P2, and then we have Apmagozi in P3. Remember, another crucial part of the sprint race is that it's going to determine the starting order for your feature race. As things stand, top 3 remain the same. Disguise now in P4, Louis P5, Chums P6, and then we have Skull and Venom making up the points in 7 and 8. Remember, just the top 8 scoring points in the sprint race. More importantly, this is going to set your position for the feature race. Let's see, where are the McLarens? They're coming through the field. Mr. Revolution in P11 and P12 coming through the field nicely. A little further back, we have Andre P13, Madwell 14, Afro 15, but remember, these are all the fast guys in the field. These are all the quick guys in the field, so do not expect them to stay there. They're only going to come through this order. And what we should see is the guys at the top begin to drop, and the guys at the bottom begin to populate their more usual spots. Just 9 laps. Are they lengthy sprint race at all? Smurf leads the way, Ultra Gamer P2, Disguise P3, Apmagozi's been doing well, still holding on to P4 at this stage of the race, then Louis 5, followed by Big T, Chums and Skull. Those are your points paying positions. We have Venom 9th place, Mr. Rem 10th. Seems like he's actually dropped off his teammate, Revolution in P12. Damo now, claiming P11 for his own. His teammate obviously all the way up the road in the lead of the race. Clever old me forgot to charge my headphones, so if I sound a little weird, it's because I'm on a wired mic. Smurf still leads, Ultra Gamer still P2, Disguise in P3 now. Ultra Gamer and Smurf, they've done a fantastic job at the top of the field. These drivers don't look particularly slow to be starting at the front of the field this way. 4.2 seconds in front of the rest of the field. And those two cars, if they finish in that order, will take up the front row of the grid. We watch Disguise in the top Mercedes-Benz, and what a sight to see here. Round 10, SKR Monza, 20 cars on the grid. It's exactly what you want to see, but it does bring in some questions. How's turn 1 gonna go? In the sprint race, you're tempted to make those moves you wouldn't do in the feature race because it's so short, it'll be over in a snap. But you've got to remember, a bad result in the sprint race will lead to a bad start in the feature race. As for the Alfa Romeos, they're taking up P19, P20 at the moment. The race not going the way they would like. That would mean they start from the final row of the grid. Smurf still leads, Ultra Gamer P2, Disguise continuing to drop off. It's interesting, he's dropping the cars behind him, but he's not able to stay with the cars in front of him, so he's just building himself into this comfortable little bubble for the final stages of the race. Ferrari versus Red Bull. Heard that before. Divan comes the first retirement, and I've got to do it. I've got to make some sort of an overlay that I can just pop on the screen every time there's a safety car. We have our first safety car of the afternoon, and it's not in our feature race, it's in our short little sprint race. So we are under safety car conditions, race has been neutralized. If you were watching the Formula E last night, then you would have seen that even in Formula E, the safety cars were racking up. That race was obviously won by the McLaren team. Sam Bird making a phenomenal pass on the penultimate corner around the outside. No one expected it. Caught the commentators off guard, caught me off guard, and what a finish. I'm sure McLaren would love for some of those results in their Formula 1 team. lap 6 of 9. What this essentially does means that the guys, if they were worried in any way about their tyres not being great at the end of the race, now their tyres are going to be fine at the end of the race because they've had a few slow laps behind the safety car. I haven't looked at anyone's tyres actually. Most of your field choosing the soft compound, just 3 drivers deciding to go out on the medium. And there we go, every time there's a safety car we can just do that. Call that the safety car. There we go. That'll be the future announcements of the safety car. What does this mean for the feature race? Well, it means a lot. Got to remember the purpose of this sprint race. It's not just for a few extra points. We put the bottom of the championship at the front of the grid. We put the top of the championship at the rear of the grid. And what is that supposed to do during the sprint race? Well, it's supposed to have the fast back runners coming through the field, ensuring they have a good starting position for the feature race. But what this safety car does is it takes that ability away from them. They can't come through the field. They have to sit in single file. And that could mean they start a lot further back than they would be hoping for. So Smurf leads the way, Ultra Gamer P2, Disguise P3, Venom and Apmagozi P4 and 5. What this does do is going to compress this whole field very close together, and when we do get going we're probably just going to have 2 laps of racing. So the one benefit for the rest of the field is that those cars up front that were starting to get a little bit far away, it's going to bring them right back into this, and Disguise is going to have another go because P1 and P2 looked out of the question for Disguise. P3 was looking quite comfortable, but it won't be anymore. He's got a lot of cars just over his shoulder, and they're all looking at that podium position. They were higher up. They've lost a few positions now. They're in 14 and 15. Seems like Mr. Rem utilized that pit stop utilized the safety car to make a pit stop because he's got a brand new set of soft tires. And there we go, we're at the restart. Smurf gets a good start. He's going to be about half a second ahead before we get into turn 1. Nice little jump there on the Ferrari. Ooh, and we've had a collision. He got too close. We've had a collision. Ferrari goes a little. Was it the Red Bull? So it was the Red Bull. Went a little bit sideways, but was able to regain his momentum. The one that came off second best in that battle was definitely the Ferrari. Just tagging the back of the Red Bull there. Looked like for a moment they were both going to be out. Luckily for us, that's not the case. This is Ultra Gamer, the other car involved in that incident, and he's been able to get going again. He's up into P3. I wonder how that will have affected the cars behind those initial 3. As you can see, there's already a gap from the top 3 to the rest of the field of 2 seconds. Apmagozi in P4. He would love to hold on to that P4, but he's got a lot of work to do if he's going to make that a reality. Magorzi now still leads as he goes through Parabolica onto the main straight, widest part of the circuit. Remember when this was the old Monza layout, this straight was not only known as the main straight, it was also known as, well, one of the back straights. Now Magorzi loses one position, loses momentum, loses another position. No, he didn't. He was able to hold on to that. Thought he'd lose more than one. But now we have a Ferrari 3 and 4. Good result for the Ferrari team. Big T now gets up into P5. Andre up into P6. Magorzi starting to drop down the field. And what really would have hurt him was that safety car. Remember, he was pretty comfortable in 12th place. What safety car does is eliminate all the gaps that have been built up during the course of the race. Gives everybody a chance to charge up their ERS, cool down their tyres, and then you've just got 2 laps of racing where you can give it absolutely everything. And that's what this man has done here. He goes around the final corner. He's going to go over the line any moment now. And Smurf, closely followed by Venom and Ultra Gamer, make up the top 3. And that was your sprint race, and I suppose also your qualifying session. Just a reminder to any of the drivers, if you are listening to the stream, don't forget there's a 3-minute break between the culmination of the sprint race and the start of the feature race. There are your official results. Smurf taking the victory in the sprint race, it's followed by Venom, Ultra Gamer making up the top 3, then Big T, Andre, Chums, Magorzi and Skull picking up points tonight for that sprint race. No points, P9 Afro, P10 Gotzi, then we have Mr. M, Pantry Star, Louis, Iris, Top Gun, Damo, Disguise, Madwell, Revolution, and the 1 DNF from the race, Dieback. Now obviously we head into a short break. Drivers will be using this 3 minutes in front of them to get ready for the race, decide what tyre compound to start on. Are they going to underfuel? Are they not going to underfuel? This is when those decisions all get made. And we'll soon be back on that grid, and the feature race will begin. Sprint race is all good and fun. This is what the guys are here for. This is the one that's worth 25 points. And heck, if your team can get a 1-2, it's something like 44 points. Still await the beginning of this race. Obviously just a lineup of what will be on this channel this week. Obviously tonight we have SKR, tomorrow night and Wednesday night we have SAFRL Tier 1 and 2, Thursday we have DRS, and then a special event on Saturday the 23rd of March. We have the F1 Sim Racing World Cup, and all Team South Africa races will be broadcast on this channel. That's 6 o'clock South Africa versus Belgium, 6:45 South Africa versus Hungary, and then 8:15 South Africa take on Argentina. South Africa finds themselves in Group C of that tournament, and if they qualify from Group C, then we will go to the knockouts the weekend after that. It's going to be an interesting race because a lot of the faster guys would have expected to be a little higher up. Safety car would have ruined the plans of some. And everybody using up their full allotment of 3 minutes, making sure they get everything done. And we will be underway in approximately 1 minute. Race is set to start at 6:41. Thanks for all the support we've been getting on this channel. We've been getting an incredible amount of views, especially last week. It was the best week we've had so far. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, remember to subscribe, hit the button, hit the bell notification so you know every single time we go live, and why not leave a like? There, that subscribe button might be more Italy applicable. Don't know if those Ferrari drivers look very impressed. Both look pretty concerned. And there we go. We're underway. 5 red lights. Haas versus Red Bull. And it's all going to be about turn 1. It's all going to be about turn 1. 20 cars into turn 1. And hopefully everybody's going to be sensible to know there's 27 more laps. The Haas misses his braking point. And Venom, crucially at the start of the race, dropping like a stone down into 6th place, and huge carnage. Huge carnage. They're ghosting, I can't be sure, but for a second I thought it was both Haas and Venom just having all sorts of trouble. And we have a virtual safety car on lap 1 of 27. Just a messy start. Things can get very messy around Monza on lap 1 when you have a full grid. It's almost expected. It's the sort of place if everybody gets through lap 1 cleanly, you say well done. Luckily for us, it was just a virtual safety car. It didn't trigger the real thing, and we can get back underway. And Smurf, man who won that sprint race, leads the way. He's got Big T all over the back of him, and Big T's not even waiting for DRS. He wants the position now, and he's got the position. Aston Martin up into the lead. Well before turn 1, Smurf can only chase now. Smurf will be hoping for DRS before that Aston Martin can get too far up the road. He's got Ultra Gamer behind him, Skull in the first of the 2 Alpha Tauris, P4, and then the second Aston Martin of Afro, making up the top 5. Mr. Rem, performing McLaren on the night, currently in P6, followed by the pair of Williams, and they've just swapped positions. We're not going to get a more confusing lineup than that. 2 Williams drivers, one is Atmagozi and the other one is Gotzi. I can only think of one driver lineup that would be more confusing than that one. That would be the Ligier team. Yes, the Ligier Renault team from 1993. Now that was confusing. Both drivers were British. One of them you'll know very well. His name was Martin Brundle. The other one, his name was Mark Blundell. Two teammates, Martin Brundle and Mark Blundell. It's pretty much the Williams situation we're having now, Gotzi and Atmagotzi. Big T leads the way, 1 second almost now the gap. Getting to that DRS range of just dropping that Red Bull behind him. Afro P3, that second Aston Martin making up a lot of ground. When we saw him a lap ago, he was in P5. Now he's up onto the podium. And his next target will be to chase down that Red Bull and make it an Aston Martin 1-2. Mr. Rem, early stages, lap 3, Ultra Gamer P6, Entry Star. First he cleared Atmagotzi, now he has cleared Gotzi. He's got past both of those Williams, he's up into P7. As for the final points finisher, that is Virus. If things were to end right now, looking to get into the points, we still have Top Gun, Louis, Madwell, Damo, Disguise. Some extremely quick drivers out of position. There's one to keep your eyes on. The second Mercedes. I should say the first Mercedes. Disguise is behind him. Disguise in P16. Madwell, the leading Mercedes, P13. Usually a very quick driver, finds himself down the order. We'll be looking to correct that, so we should see a lot of action from him. But at the front, it seems easy pickings. 1.3 seconds is the gap. And now Smurf starting to fall into the clutches of that second Aston Martin. Skull P4, Mr. Rem, Saul P5, that top 5 sitting firm now. Everybody's sort of slotting into their positions and staying there. We've got a caution. Hopefully it's just a yellow flag and nothing more. There we go. We have a Ferrari at the exit of, and he has got going. Okay, so no safety car needed. The last thing you want to see on that 5 of 27 is a safety car, unless you're Andre in the 55 seconds adrift from the rest of the field. Then you'd love a safety car right about now. Big T leads, gap 1.5 seconds, steadily growing between P1 and P2. Afro now getting closer and closer to that Red Bull in front of him. And he'll have one target, he'll think about his teammate later. But for now, the only target can be to clear the Red Bull. It's 3 seconds down the road from that battle. The AlphaTauri coming under pressure from Mr. Rem. Is it the AlphaTauri or is it the RB? I don't know. I might sometimes call it the AlphaTauri and sometimes call it the RB, and hopefully everybody's just going to know what I mean. Skull in P4 leading the way from Mr. Rem. And Mr. Rem not wasting any more time, McLaren up into P4. And at the front, we missed that, but Afro has been able to clear the Red Bull, and we have an Aston Martin 1-2. They're separated by 1.8 seconds. Smurf just adrift of that second Aston Martin, so he's still got an opportunity to come back at him. And while those two battle, Mr. Rem will be hoping that battle lasts as long as possible so he can catch up to those podium finishes. 2.3 seconds down the road now. He is making up a bit of ground. Remember, he was 3 seconds off the podium position, so he's already made up 7 tenths. Good evening to Monique in the comment section. Who are you guys rooting for in this race? Big T leads the way from Afro, Aston Martin 1-2. Then we have a Red Bull in P3, that's Smurf, followed by Mr. Rem, the top McLaren, and then Skull, making up the top 5. Just outside that top 5, Pantry Star, Ultra Gamer, Gotzi, Top Gun, Akmagozi, final points position, picked up a point in the sprint race. And he'd love to pick up another one in the feature race, but he's going to have his hands full, because look who's that. He told you. Keep your eyes on that Mercedes-Benz. He's a quick driver and he's far out of position. He was in P13 when I said that. He's just gone up into P10. Madwell into the points. Madwell and Mercedes into the points. This is Andre, your final runner on the evening. P19. Virus up the road. Revolution P17. Is that car ghosting? I believe it is. As is Divan. Few cars ghosting at the back of the field. Magosi now, he dropped out of the points, went down into P11. Now he's lost another position down into P12. Where is that Mercedes? We saw that Mercedes made up a position, got himself up into the top 10. Now he's going to have to chase down Top Gun. He's going to have his hands full. 3.3 seconds before he can get there. Catching is one thing, passing is quite another. I think I may have just quoted Murray Walker. Catching is one thing, passing is quite another. Ultra Gamer, the only Ferrari left in this race. His teammate retired early on and activated that virtual safety car. That was Chums. Ferrari are hoping to score any points here in Italy tonight. Falls on this man's shoulders over here. He's currently in P6 and not helping anything at all. He has a penalty. There's a 3-second time penalty. And that can definitely hurt you. Yeah, Sean, I can see some of these drivers extremely quick. They're just out of position, really. And I think a safety car could really flip things on its head, but we haven't seen one as of yet. Drivers won't be hoping for one just yet. One a little later, maybe 2 or 3 laps from now, so they can get rid of those soft tires and have a free pit stop. For now it would be a little too early still. These mediums will still have a lot of life in them. So if we did have a safety car now, all those medium runners would have to think very hard about what they're going to do next. Evening Boinkies also in the comment section, great to have you here. SKR on a Sunday afternoon, mostly at 6 o'clock. Sometimes we do it at 8, but for the most part 6 o'clock it is. We've got a caution, yellow flags on the circuit. That would be for Gotzi. Gotzi has actually been disqualified from the session. That's not a DNF, so I'm not sure what he did, but he has been disqualified from the session. We had a McLaren going very slowly, almost looked stationary around Parabolica, but that car is back on its way. Yellow flags have been lifted. And Big T leads the way at the front. We didn't see what happened to Afro. I thought maybe he made a pit stop, but he definitely hasn't made a pit stop. Those softs are 8 laps old. It's looking like a definite Aston Martin 1-2, but now Afro down in P8. Not sure what happened there with the driver, but he's lost a lot of positions. He's going to have to do all that work all over again. Big T leads the way, but there's no challenge on track right now. Mr. MP2, and that's a 5-second gap. Atmagosi picks up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And this has not been the day that Williams would have wanted. And Atmagosi gets back out on circuit. Have another go. If your race doesn't start well, there's so much to remember. So much can happen in this race. Just because you're driving around in last place in the opening stint does not mean you're going to finish there. He's looking to join as a reserve. I think the more the merrier. Should contact the contact X over on Discord, and I'm sure that can be arranged. Great to have 20 drivers in the field, and also to have such a rich collection of reserve drivers. When guys aren't able to make it, we're still able to fill the grid like this. It makes for some very interesting racing. What is this? This is pit stops. I saw people falling down the order, but that is pit stops that are happening. Ultra Gamer, one of those cars pitting. Venom, another one. He was in there for a while. I think he did a wing change. Who runs the league? I'm not entirely sure. I don't know. I communicate with too many admin on a weekly basis, and I've actually forgotten. You're gonna have to give me a second. Or a few. Big T still leads the way. 5 seconds is still the gap, so that gap's not growing, it's not getting shorter. Almost seems like Big T just managing the gap, just doing exactly what he needs to do and nothing more. Wants to extend the life of those softs as much as he possibly can. The deeper he can go into the race, the better it will be for that tyre he decides to finish the race on. Big T leads Mr. MP2, and look at this, 3 wide. What is going on over here? Smurf's going to come out on top for now, but for how much longer? We've got an Alpine, we've got an AlphaTauri, we've got a Red Bull, and all of them are juggling for positions. It's going to be who's latest on the brakes. Ooh, and the Red Bull was very late on the brakes, in fact locking up badly, losing both positions. And now Pantry Star up into the podium positions, and Skull P4. In the next few moments, it'll be crucial for Smurf, as he can't get frustrated, he can't get angry, he's just got to get his head down, forget about what happened, focus on the race. Start getting angry, that's when mistakes start creeping in, they start multiplying, and eventually you just want to throw everything up in the air. But for this man here, there are no problems multiplying. The only thing multiplying is the gap. Big T very comfortable out front. McLaren's having a very mixed day. Mr. M up in P2 doing a good job. Struggling to hold on to the leader, but doing enough to stay in a comfortable P2. His teammate on the other hand, well, I probably shouldn't have said that, because as I said, his teammate, he spun. So Revolution P18, and he's just recovering from another spin. So that second McLaren just having all sorts of problems out on the racetrack, and he'll be hoping for some major development in this race, like a safety car that will allow him to come back into this race and have another go at things. Big T, Mr. Rem, Skull, those are your top three. Don't forget about this man here. He came through the field very effectively. Turned it into an Aston Martin 1-2. Then something happened. We didn't get to see it on the broadcast, but he lost a whole handful of positions, went down to P6. And now he's on a bit of a recovery drive. He's doing one heck of a job, isn't he? He's up into P4 already. Same strategy as his teammate. Still lots of pace. I agree with Boinkies in the comment section. A lot of pace for these soft runners, considering 13 laps. What does the leader do? Goes on to the medium. His teammate also into the pits. And surely he's going to choose exactly the same strategy. Who's that? Skull going on to the hards. And we have a virtual safety car. Virtual safety car coming out at the moment where those drivers pit. Means everybody's going to have to slow down, drive within a delta while you're sitting in the pits. Usually these cars would be driving around at 300 plus kilometers an hour while you're sitting stationary in the pits. But you're sitting stationary in the pits and these cars can't go over what, 250 because of the delta. Well, that's going to save you a whole lot of time if your competitors are going just a little slower than they would normally. Mr. M has claimed the lead of the race as a result of that pit stop. Now Big T, the man leading this race, he's gone into the pits. He's emerged from the pits in P2 on a brand new set of mediums. And the car up the road from him is still going to have to pit. Stop around here will be anything from 20 to 23 seconds. Somewhere along there, if you don't have any penalties or any nose changes to do. So that gap should be efficient for Big T to retake the lead of this race. And he has. Comfortably, actually. I thought the gap was going to be closer to 2.4 seconds. That's what we saw initially, but as Mr. M left that pit exit, the gap quickly jumped up into the 7-second range, and that means Big T in a very comfortable position at the end of the race here, or at least in the second half of the race. The last thing he wants is a safety car to come out and erase all this hard work. 7 seconds worth of the gap, and he will now just want to take that Aston Martin to the finish line and claim the points, and he doesn't want any more drama on his side. As for Revolution drama, well, he's had a lot of it. Down in 17 on the mediums, and he's still driving around hoping for something crazy to happen. No safety car is not switched off because we had one in the sprint race. So far, we've been very lucky in this feature race. We've had 2 virtual safety cars, and we've had a few cautions where the cars have simply disappeared. And that's let us keep on racing at full speed. That's what you want to see. I want to see these guys going behind the safety car, crawling behind the safety car. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to race. Lap 16 of 27. Still a fair amount of that race to go. Top Ferrari, Ultra Gamer. Just outside the top 5. looking to join that party very soon. Pantry Star, Skull, Smurf all close together. And now Ultra Gamer is comfortably within that DRS. He's definitely getting involved in this party. He still sees a podium position. 5-second time penalty for Andre, and that's apparently for corner cutting. Must have been quite the corner cut. That's what happens in these sort of races. Get that first penalty, something else goes wrong, and then usually it just snowballs. Can be a driver who hardly picks up penalties and then all of a sudden have a race where you pick up 20 of them. And it's just that snowball effect. You don't realize you're getting frustrated, and the frustration's only going to make things worse. As you can see, all of those penalties, or at least the majority of those penalties, are at the back of the field. That's why I say it's drivers that are getting annoyed. Earlier we were speaking about Madwell coming through the order. He has obviously retired from this race, will take no further part. So we just have the 17 runners. We've had 2 DNFs and 1 DSQ. Crucially for these guys outside the top 10 that are hoping for points, these retirements are not coming from within the top 10. Big T still out front. Mr. Rem, Smurf getting awfully close. Does the Red Bull go through? I'm looking at the wrong battle. It's Smurf versus Skull. Smurf keeps P3. This would be a very interesting scenario if Marco was on the pit wall and we had a Red Bull outright fighting an AlphaTauri. I'm sure the instruction from Red Bull would be a very loud and very clear message. Big T, Mr. Rem, Smurf, that's your top 3. Skull, P4. We have Pantry Star. Also another one of those drivers. Very, very quick. And I can't say anything good about a driver, because the moment I do, well, you can see it for yourself. I'll say Pantry Star, really, really quick driver, and off he goes into the gravel. Pantry Star in P6 now. Afro, second. Aston Martin back up into P5. Looking to minimize the damage of the incident earlier on. Get himself back up onto that podium. Now Skull and Smurf switching places yet again. Skull now up into P3. And the more these battle, the easier it will make it for that second Aston Martin to catch up and have his own say on this battle. Could still yet see an Aston Martin double podium. Maybe not the 1-2 they would have wanted. There's nothing wrong with the 1-3. As for P1, not much to say. Unless he had a moment of insanity. Don't think we're gonna have any problems out front. Mr. Rem just as comfortable, all by himself. Big T 6 seconds ahead, Skull 6 seconds behind. Mr. M couldn't be more comfortable. It's like a virtual practice session for him. As for P3, doesn't share that comfort. Still got a lot of defending to do if he intends to finish in that position. Skull leads from Afro and Smurf. And remember, Pantry Star was very much part of that battle, but he got dropped off on the last lap. And now Afro up into P3. And with 7 laps to go, will he be able to make a dent on this gap to Mr. Rem? But first he needs to get away from Skull and Smurf. He needs to break this DRS. And as long as they continue to battle, Mr. M will simply disappear in second place. Will no longer be a possibility. Lap 20 of 27. Still no safety car. Wonder how many of these drivers would have underfueled in anticipation for a safety car, and they're going to finish the race with a very heavy car compared to the drivers around them. There's a risk. Sometimes you say, what if there isn't a safety car? Start on the normal fuel amount and finish the race with 3 laps more than you needed. Sometimes you underfuel, there is no safety car, and you've got to manage things very nicely towards the end. Doesn't seem like anyone's managing their pace. I don't think anyone did underfuel. But 2 short virtual safety cars, those do also help with your fuel. Big T still in front, 7.5 seconds, no change in that. Gap that is changing is the gap between P2 and P3. We saw that gap was just over 6 seconds. It's now 5.5 seconds. So SAFRL is having some sort of an effect. He's now pulled away from Skull. He's just broken DRS. That gap now just goes over the 1 second barrier. And as he can start to worry less about his mirrors, he can focus on that McLaren up the road. Mr. M will have a small timing screen on the top left of his screen. He will have seen that pass. He will have seen SAFRL got up into P3, and he will see that gap coming down. He'll know about it. And he'll know if he's doing enough management to hold that gap. He'll know if he needs to dig a little deeper, and he'll know if he does have anything left in the pocket to dig a little deeper. Doesn't look like he's driving on the absolute edge, and actually that gap has stabilized, 5.5 seconds, so it's not getting any smaller. Skull P4. Smurf still doing a good job. Remember, he started this race in pole position after winning the sprint race. Gonna get a nice handful of points for tonight. Pantry Star P6, Top Gun P7. Those are the 2 Alpines. Sure, Alpine would love those positions in real life. P6 and 7, 2 cars in the points. At the moment, that result is a very far from reality one. Here we have Damo, P9, and the second of the 2 Red Bulls. For the record, we have lost 1 Williams, 1 Mercedes, and 1 Ferrari. Everyone else still has their teammates. Keep on thinking I've got to go back and see what's happening at the front, and every time I get here there's nothing happening at the front. Gap 7.2 seconds. Don't think Big T is increasing that gap anymore. He doesn't need to. Just needs to bring that car home. It's the guys that are chasing him that need to take the risks. He just needs to bring the car home. He can drive within the white lines, doesn't need to worry about penalties, doesn't need to worry about overdoing it. Mr. M will be on the edge. He'll know that Aston Martin is catching him. But something for Mr. M to take a deep sigh of relief is that SAFRL does have a penalty. Let's just bring up the details of that penalty. It's a 3-second time penalty, so SAFRL is ahead of Skull by 3.8 seconds. So that'll be just enough for him to stay there. Remember, while the gap says 3.8 seconds on your screens, it's actually a gap of 0.8 of a second. So Afro will have that on his mind, and he'll know, in order to cement this third place, he needs to make sure that gap cannot come below 3 seconds. Lots of viewers on the stream, lots of you in the comment section. No likes on the video. Leave a like on the video. And if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. Lap 24 of 27. What a race it's been. 20 cars around Monza. I was certain we were going to get a safety car. We're not going to get one. It's already lap 24 of 27. That means the time left is too short for a safety car. And we're going to have an actual lights to finish race, which is something I haven't done since, I think it was last week Monday. 2 weeks ago Monday. Three laps to go. Lap 25 of 27. Big T first, Mr. M second, Afro. We said that gap was crucial, 3 seconds. He's out of any risk now. That gap 4.2 seconds. He is coming up to lap a car. Let's see if we can just see what car that is. Looks like a Williams, might be Akmagozi. Hopefully we'll get confirmation of that. Big T still out front comfortably, 8.1 seconds. The gap still. That's why I'm in the comms box and not in a cockpit. Nah, Boinkies, it's too late for a safety car. I think when it gets to about 4 laps from the end, safety car is very unlikely. On one of the races, I forget which one it was, but one of the races last week, we had 5 safety cars, and one of them was a safety car I've never seen before. We had a full safety car. We got confirmation of safety car in this lap. When we did get that confirmation and the guys started racing, there was a slight collision. So the safety car went into the pits, came out on the other side, and we did it all again. 6 consecutive laps of safety car. And this was in a race with 3 other safety cars. So 5 in total. As well as 2 in the sprint race. So 7 for the night. Usually my streams last about an hour and a half, and that particular race was 2 hours and 10 minutes. Big T out front comfortably, 8.7 seconds. Afro in a comfortable third. He's opened that gap enough to consolidate his own penalty, but he's not going to be able to do enough to deal with that McLaren up the road, and it's going to be a 3rd place he's going to have to accept. His teammate well onto that final lap, heading into Curva Grande. Such a historic racetrack, such a fast racetrack. And to think we almost lost this racetrack a few years ago. 2009, major upgrades were demanded, and initially didn't look like the track was going to be able to come up with those upgrades. The municipality of Monza did help out with that, and the great racetrack was saved on the F1 calendar. Don't think anyone wants a street race in Italy. Closing stages, Big T Doesn't have long to go, just has to clear this back straight, just has to clear Parabolica. There we go, heads into Parabolica, heads out of Parabolica. Car still pointing in a straight line. He's done everything he needed to do. Big T goes over the line, a little bit of a wobble, just acknowledgement of the team. Goes over the line to win the race. Mr. Rem is going to follow him 9.5 seconds down the road. And then Afro. What a night for Aston Martin. Could have been a 1-2, he'll be ruining that. But I think considering the circumstances, can be very happy with P3. Skull comes over the line in P4. Pantry Star over the line in P5. Quite sure what happened there. We had a car going all over the circuit. But now we'll just await the final and official results. Let the game work out who's got penalties and where they should go. Ultra Gamer, P9. Go over the line for points. Don't weave too much. There we go. There we go. Thought he would almost lose that position in the end. We've got 2 Red Bulls in the points. But their night could have been a lot better. Remember, Smurf led that race for quite some time. Won the sprint race. Had the pace. The driver of the day goes to the man who finished in P2, Mr. Rem. There are your official results. Big T took the victory, took the fastest lap, 26 points on the night. It's followed by Mr. Rem in P2, and Afro the second Aston Martin making it into P3, double Aston Martin podium. They're followed by Skull, Pantry Star, Smurf, Venom, Top Gun, Virus, and Damo in the second Red Bull, making up the top 10. No points in the feature race. Ultra Gamer P11, Louis P12, Disguise 13, Divan 14, Apmagozi 15. Then we have Andre 15, Revolution 17, Madwell DNF'd, Chums DNF'd, and Gotzi was DSQ. I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody who joined us for the race tonight. It was a fantastic race, full grid, and a historic race circuit. We will be back tomorrow night with SAFRL, and Wednesday night again with SAFRL. We'll also be back for Thursday DRS, and remember, if you haven't heard, Saturday the 23rd of March, F1 Sim Racing World Cup, Group C, and all Team South Africa races will be on this channel. 6 o'clock we have South Africa versus Belgium. At 6:45 we have South Africa versus Hungary. And then at 8:15 we have South Africa going up against Argentina. That is for Group C of the Sim Racing World Cup. And if South Africa does emerge victorious from that group, the following week we'll be back with the knockout stages. Until then, I want to thank you all for tuning in. I want to thank you all for watching, for supporting the channel. Support on the channel has been great. And I will see you tomorrow night for SAFRL.